Dear Daniel Ortiz, I hope you're doing well. The MGK Siegen Museum for Gegenwartskunst Siegen is planning an exhibition project with a working title, Colonial Traces of Siegen, which will be presented from September 19, 2025 until January 18, 2026. I am a junior researcher fellow at the museum, and this exhibition is part of my final project. The central starting point of the exhibition is a Peruvian silver bowl that came into the possession of Lord Johann Moritz of Nassau-Siegen through the transatlantic slave trade in 1658. He donated the bowl to the church congregation in Siegen, where it was used as a baptismal for until just a few years ago. Today, a replica of the bowl continues to be used as a ceremonial object. This raises many questions. Why is this object still considered indispensable by the church community? How can stories and engagements with objects change and evolve while colonial continuity remains intact? Through selected artist positions, I would like to explore the colonial continuities present in our society. Art can serve as an important anchor point to negotiate contradictions and simultaneities and to open up a space for perspective and experiences. In addition to the exhibition at MGK Siegen and a public space intervention, a supporting program is planned in collaboration with the University of Siegen, aiming to actively involve the local community. I am convinced that your works, such as the ABC of Racist Europe and Samuel and Naseb, A Resistance Stories in 7 Pranks, which I have personally seen at the Kunstverein in 2021, would be a substantial contribution to this project, and I would like to invite you to participate in our exhibition. I would be very pleased if you accept my invitation and contribute with your work. Please don't hesitate to contact me at any time for any further information on the project. Would be happy to discuss things further. Best wishes and thanks for your attention. My answer. Hi dear Jessica. I hope this message finds you well. Thank you for your kind invitation and for your interest in my work, as well as for sharing the details of the exhibition you are preparing at the MGK Siegen Museum for Gegenwartskunst Siegen, around the Peruvian silver bowl looted that ended in the hands of Lord Johann Moritz of Nassau-Siegen through the network of transatlantic slave trade. Given the current role of Germany, both through its arms industry and institutions, in supporting and legitimizing the ongoing genocide against the Palestinian people, I am not willing to participate in artistic and decolonial projects in the country unless they explicitly address and denounce the active role of Germany in the genocide against Palestine, which is one of many colonial continuities that remain intact. If the exhibition is open to accept my position in regard to historical and contemporary colonialism, I would consider participating with a new series I am currently developing titled The ABC of Zionist Germany. This work, which will be entirely in German, directly addresses the link between European and particularly German colonial legacies and political decisions of today related to the current system of censorship, militarization, and both economic and ideological support for the colonial occupation of Palestine and the ongoing genocide carried out by Israel, with a specific focus on Germany's role in sustaining these structures. Please let me know if such a contribution would be accepted within the framework of your project. Kind regards, Daniel Ortiz. The answer of the curator. Dear Daniela, thank you for your message and your detailed explanation. On a personal note, I can understand your motivation and your decision to either show a different artwork or not collaborate with institutions under certain circumstances. However, the concept of this exhibition is more closely related to a different colonial context, one that specifically concerns the city of Siegen, Johann Moritz, Dutch colonialism, and its continuities, which are also entangled with German history. In this sense, the exhibition has distinctly local focus. That is why I specifically requested that two existing artworks of yours. The new production would unfortunately not resonate with the other positions and works presented in this group show. I hope you can understand my perspective and perhaps find another way to present the new work in a different context. If you're still interested in participating with your previous works, I would be happy to discuss things further. Best regards. My answer. Dear Jessica, I hope this email finds you well. Thanks you for your reply and for taking the time to share your perspective. I share these thoughts sincerely with the hope they are understood as part of a professional, principled, and ideological exchange, not as a personal offense. There is a fundamental and troubling misunderstanding across many cultural institutions in Europe, particularly in Germany, about what it means to engage with colonial legacies and decolonial epistemologies. We are witnessing that European curators and institutions continue to impose their Eurocentric political frameworks onto aesthetics, cultural artifacts, and epistemologies from the Global South, just like it was done in the 18th century and the 19th century, without shifting the colonial political perspective from which they operate. The European and American cultural industry is making a new appropriation of Global South aesthetics, epistemologies, and narratives while systematically detaching them from the political urgency of analyzing the role of Global North countries, especially Germany and the US, in the ongoing structure of genocide, militarization, and looting, which find their most brutal expression in the genocide imposed by the colonial state of Israel to Palestinian people and their territory. Understanding colonial legacies today requires confronting not only historical violence, but also the active geopolitical and economical roles European powers still play thanks to historical impunity. To address colonialism by framing it solely as a local issue in Germany or any other context, abstracted from its entanglements with global systems of domination, is precisely part of the problem of the Eurocentric perspective of the Global North cultural industry. It turns the colonial practices into a cultural commodity, stripped of its political force, and more importantly, stripped from the sense in which it was built, not to serve as a mere entertainment for European audiences, but as a tool of liberation for the oppressed people of the Global South. In that struggle, Palestine has historically held a central place. My proposal to exhibit the ABC of Zionist Germany on these broader dynamics is not a thematic detour. It is an anti-colonial political position and professional principle in regard to the use of the colonial epistemologies and in regard to the understanding of European racism. Logically, in the case I would have been allowed to show this work, I would have included specific references to Siegen, Lord Johann Moritz, Dutch colonialism, and the looted ceremonial bowl from Peru, which have a deep colonial ideological connection with the genocide imposed in Palestine. At this moment, as a cultural worker, I consider vital to refuse frameworks that reduce critique to safely contained narrative, particularly when they function to protect the European institutions and actors still benefiting from colonial continuities. Thank you again for your invitation. Under these circumstances, I will not participate in the exhibition. Best regards, Daniel Ortiz.